So I'm going on holiday on Wednesday, so I'm just trying to panic sow a load of seeds. So I've just started off by planting my melon seeds for this year. I'm doing a mix of indoor and outdoor melons. I've already done my outdoor ones, but I'll tell you which ones I've got. So I've got melon melba that's already gone in. I've got some honeydew melons that have gone in. And I've also done a new variety of watermelon, Redstar they're called. So I've done melons now outside for about 3 years probably, and I've had so much success doing them outside. I've always been really surprised that it works, because I'm in the northwest of England. We don't always have the best of summers, but the melons that I did outdoors last year did 10 times better than the ones that I had indoors. So I don't know what it is. I actually originally built a tunnel to put my melons outside, but I left the plastic off and it was still just as successful. So going with the same again this year, hopefully. So I'm just doing my indoor varieties that are going to be in here this year, and I've got a mixture of watermelons and normal melons. So I have a crimson sweet watermelon. I've also got watermelon jubilee, and I've got some Galia or Galia melons, and also some melon Mangomel, which are an F1 variety, and that's new for this year that I'm trying, so I'm not sure how they'll be. So I'm just trying to remember which ones are which, make sure I label them. So I'm now going to put in these Mangomel. Typically in a packet you get 5 to 7 seeds. Yeah. The seeds do look different depending on the melon, but they're like a rounded diamond almost. But what I find really important when you're sowing melons is that you sow them on the side. I don't know if you can see that, like this. And I'm putting in two per one per cell. So I'm going to have 6 of those this year, see how that gets on. I'm back at the end of April, so if they've not germinated by the time I get back, I'll put some more in, but these are brand new seeds, so I shouldn't have any problems with that. So now it's time for the melon Galia, and the reason I'm doing these is because they're my granddad's favourite, and you actually can't beat having a homegrown melon. They do not taste anything like what you buy in the stores. They are so much more flavourful, and yeah, just 10 times better than shop bought, as is everything that you grow on your own. I'm 25 years old, and since I started growing my own food at home, I didn't even know what proper spinach tastes like, because when I started growing it, comparing that to shop bought was just unmatched. It tastes completely different, which just shows that, yep, growing your own is superior. And the last ones to go in are these watermelon seeds, crimson sweet. I have grown small watermelons before. I'm pretty sure when I checked these were a small variety, so they kind of grow about this big, and they're really sweet, very lovely. So I sow these now mid-April-ish, and I will put them into the polytunnel in the final beds probably around mid-May time. We have last frost here at the end of May, so they're all right. They'll be all right in the polytunnel, but yeah, that's when they'll be going out. So like I say, it's important to plant them on the side. I don't know where I read that or how I did this or found it out, but this is what I've done every year. So just remember to label these, and I plant these out quite differently depending on if they're indoors or outdoors. Indoors, so my indoor varieties, which are these ones in this tray, they will go into these beds and I will actually grow them vertically. So last year I had them, you see this is the frame of my polytunnel, I had gridding here, it was like this stuff, and I had it like that going through, and I had them growing upwards. I just found that I could put more plants in because they weren't taking up as much space, because they were growing upwards rather than taking all over the bed. So in this bed here, I had about, it must have been 6 plants, which for it's quite a small area of space, but I could really maximise it by growing vertically. And I'll do that in this bed as well. And then my outdoor varieties, which are over there in the pots, they will just be growing as normal. So melons grow like pumpkins, so they travel quite far, and I'm going to have them growing across the bed, and I'm also going to have some hoops that will grow over, so they'll be growing vertical and as they usually would, landscape outdoors. So different ways of growing. It depends what you'd like to try. It depends how much space you've got, because they do take up quite a little bit of space, but if you're growing them vertically, obviously you save that by growing vertically. So that is them done. So in terms of how many fruits you get from one plant, it varies. I'm not an expert by any means, but I've had the Honeydew lemons. They've produced up to about 5 plants usually per plant. And yeah, if they're in the polytunnel, I have to leave the door open so that they get germinated. Otherwise, you don't get bees and pollinators in here to do that. So yeah, usually around 4 to 5 plants per 4 to 5 fruits per plant. So it can be quite productive, really. And like I say, there's nothing more satisfying than growing your own melon from seed, bringing it home, cutting it up, and the taste is just unmatched. That's everything. I've done my indoor melons and I've sowed my outdoor varieties. I'm going on holiday. I'll come back. They should have germinated by then. If not, I'll be putting some more in, because some of the seeds did actually say they went out of date in 2023, but we don't listen to those rules. We just plant them in and hope for the best. But I have had some new seed varieties, so they should definitely germinate. They do need around 17 to 18 degrees to germinate, but it's warmed up quite a lot here in the UK in the northwest at the moment, so they should be fine in this polytunnel to germinate. So all that's left to do is give these a good water and leave them to do their thing. So thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video.